Are food prices going up again this year? Honestly, it doesn't matter, because the better question is, what are you going to do about it if they do? Now today I'm sharing 3 big factors likely to affect food prices in 2025, but more importantly, I'll show you what I actually focus on at home to keep my food bills down, even when the economy's doing whatever the economy does. And trust me, number 3 is so simple, you're going to kick yourself if you haven't done it already. Now, if you're new to Grocery Dad, welcome along. Fabulous to have you here. One thing I'd like you to know is that this channel is not political, it's not sponsored by a supermarket. It is all about straight up practical advice to help you shop smarter and save real money. So, with that said, let's start with where we are now. Food price inflation has slowed down a bit. And that's the good news. The bad news is that most of us are still paying 20 to 30% more for groceries than we were before the pandemic. And some foods in the US and the UK are still costing you way over the 30% more mark. And wages, well, they're not keeping up, unless you're a CEO or you've got a YouTube channel that's all about cats or something. So yeah, technically things are getting better. But if you've done a grocery shop recently, you could be forgiven for thinking the checkout just forgot to apply the discount and instead charged you for a small share in the store. Now, behind the scenes, grocery chains and their suppliers are still arguing over price hikes. It's happening all the time. And supermarkets are starting to say enough is enough, which sounds great, until you realise the alternatives are products getting smaller, quality ingredients getting taken out of them, or things just vanishing off shelves altogether. So, in the end, we either pay more or we get less. Or sometimes we wind up with these kind of weird new versions of things that no one asked for, like coffee flavoured chips. But we have to factor in one other major topic, and that is the impact of tariffs. Tariffs, of course, are not new, but they haven't kind of been a front page story as they are now for generations. Now, as I said at the top, I'm not covering this on political grounds. I'm not debating here whether tariffs are good or bad. I will leave that to other folks on other channels. My focus is what impact tariffs are likely to have on our grocery bills. And the short answer is, it gets very complicated very quickly. You probably know that most countries are importers as well as exporters when it comes to food products. And even when a product is manufactured locally, it may be made using imported ingredients like cocoa or sugar or palm oil. So tariffs make imported goods more expensive, and shoppers might be seeing higher prices already on everyday items like seafood or coffee, or rice or fruit or alcohol. Now, because of the interconnected nature of things, locally produced goods might go up too. Also, because the cost of goods shifts or because demand rises. So the long-term impact is, well, really hard to judge at this stage. But I did come across one study on an earlier round of tariffs, which found that US consumer prices increased by about 1.5%. Some items seeing 5 to 10% increases. And this time the tariffs are way higher and way more far-reaching. But regardless, let's not pretend that we can control any of that. The real game changer is to focus on the stuff that we can influence ourselves in our own home. And that's what I want to share with you next. The 3 habits that I've banked on really since the pandemic that will actually make a difference to your food bill. And so top of the list is always going to be, for me, meal planning. No color-coded charts required. What I mean is, before you shop, you map out a few dinners that you want to eat, then you check what ingredients you've already got, and you build your shopping list around that. Now, working as few as 3 days out is all you need to make a huge difference. But make sure as well that you've got your pantry meals built in too. That's those days when you make up meals using all the leftovers and all the things that you already have in your cupboards. It's flexible, but you're still in control. Now, something that I've discovered that's helping us a lot with this is this app called Eat This Much. And it's actually made a big difference for us. If you want it to, it can do the whole lot. It'll do meal plans, grocery lists, nutrition targets, and it'll even plan in meals using leftovers from earlier in the week, which is pretty darn smart, I think you'd agree. Now, if you're trying to eat better, save money, cut down on your waste, you should definitely give this a go. There's a link in the description. It's free for you to use, and it is going to help support my channel a wee bit too. Okay, so for my second move, we have one that loads of us get stung by, and that's pre-prepared convenience foods. Pre-chopped, pre-marinated, pre-packaged. You're basically paying extra for something to be a little bit easier. But across your whole cart, that adds up really, really fast. You've got the bag salads, you've got the microwave dinners, on and on and on it goes. So the switch that we made a few years ago was to flip it and start making all of that stuff ourselves. All of the snacks, all of the sauces, all of those little lunchbox fillers, all made at home for a fraction of the cost, and all the ingredients that are in them we can identify, and they've got no numbers in them. So we've got a few of our favourite snack recipes on the new Grocery Dad website to get you going. Links are down below. You don't have to go full on homesteader for all of this either, right? If you are, that's terrific. but it's kind of non-essential if you just want to take control and make some smarter choices. And so at number 3, it's, well, just go to the store less often. I know for a fact the more often I would go to the store, the more I would spend. Because every trip I made came with extra costs. You know, you go out looking for a couple of bits and you come back $40 down with a whole bunch of snacks, a whole bunch of impulse buys that you had never planned on making at the outset. Instead, you want to aim for one big shopping trip a week and give yourself an allowance of one top up just in case you need it. But that's it. It's fewer shops, means fewer chances to blow your budget, and it means you're more likely to shop with purpose. And on top of all that, it forces you to actually use what you've got at home, and that'll save you hundreds more every month on waste. So yeah, prices are probably going to go up, folks. And if they don't, then they might just feel like they have because we're getting less for the same money. Either way though, we don't control any of that stuff. What we do control is how we shop, what we buy, and how often we let the supermarket tempt us into another $40 or $50 top-up shop. So focus your energy on the grocery savings you can make. Stick to that plan, skip the overpriced shortcuts, and actually stay out of the shops as much as you possibly can. It ain't rocket science, but it does work. And it adds up to how you can cut hundreds off your food costs every single year. Let me know in the comments, what's your take? What's the one habit or change that's made the biggest difference to your food budget? And if you want to see the actual food swaps I've made to cut our grocery spend hugely, watch this next video right here.